Now listen to me, little bitch. I'm gonna ask you some real simple questions, and I want some real simple answers. You understand? Let me get this right. You bought the bottle of beer about 11:15?
Yeah, I bought the beer and I accidentally dropped it.
You bought the bottle of beer at 11:15?
At 11, yeah, at 11:15, 11:15.
Then why wasn't the bottle cleaned up? Why did we find it still there, spilled on the floor after the shoot?
After we was leaving, after I left, other people was coming in. When we was leaving.
But you don't remember what they.
But they look.
But you bought the bottle of beer definitely at 12:15.
Yeah, it was 12:15. Exactly. If I'm not mistaken, it was.
Now you see something. Now you see now. You done fucked up. You know that, don't you?
I
see what I'm saying?
I thought.
No, so you know what I'm saying that you done fucked up now. You know that, don't you?
The more questions that cop asked, the more I thought I wasn't gonna never see daylight again.
And this time you said you bought the bottle of beer.
I was just waiting for them to tell me they seen that damn videotape, but they hadn't.
No, you done fucked up, don't you? No, don't you? No, you done fucked up.
Without the tape, they had nothing.
And keep the answers confined to the question as best you can. I think you'll have more than enough ample opportunity on when the state is able to
It's highly
follow-ups.
offensive when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
All right. Well, Ms. Willis, you'll have the opportunity to explain all of that when it's the state's turn to ask more open-ended questions.
Yeah.
Ms. Merchant.
Thank you, Judge. So again, my question was, you all met at that conference, though, right?
We did. The meeting, he, as I stated, he taught the class. I did not actually meet him when he taught the class. I walked out of the class, and I'm not sure if it was that exact class or we had went to lunch, but we were standing in the vestibule, like outside of the class. Me and Judge Reeves were having a conversation. She had worked at a law firm I worked at back in 1996.
We're getting way afar. I mean, I don't mind her explaining her answers, but I literally just asked if they met at that conference.
She's explaining how she met Mr. Wade, which was exactly the question asked by Ms. Merchant. These answers are more than appropriate.
Ms. Merchant, if you want more concise answers, perhaps you could lead the witness.
I will. Thank you, Judge. Isn't it true that you met Mr. Wade October 2019 at the judges' conference?
He hasn't gotten to the point where Ms. Willis should be treated hostile in this situation.
I think we have.
I very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be here.
Not so much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Ms. Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine. 22. You know, it's not like when you're in grade school and you send a little letter and it says, will you be my girlfriend, and you check it. I don't know the day that we started seeing each other, but it was early 22 is my recollection.
Okay, early 22. And you all went to Florida on vacation as well?
I don't recall going to Florida on vacation with him.
You never went to Florida with Mr. Wade?
When we went to get on the cruise ship, we went to Miami.
Okay, that's the only time that you went to Florida with him?
I think we went to Miami and spent the night. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I think we spent the night. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I think we spent one night so that we wouldn't miss the ship. That's my recollection of our vacation.
Paid for that hotel?
In Miami? I don't remember that.
And how'd you get to Miami?
We would have flown. And we've done that, so that I'm clear, we've done that twice. I think one time we stayed, and I honestly can't tell you, did we stay when the ship left or did we stay when the ship came back? I also can't tell you, so there's 2 cruises out of Miami. There's one that's in that October time period that was with his mom. And then there was another that was a New Year's Eve trip. I know I paid for the New Year's Eve trip because the tickets were $697 each. And I thought this is ridiculous that the tickets are $700 to go to Miami. But when you travel during New Year's Eve, you know, they get you.
So let's just back up and talk about the first time that you went to Florida with Mr. Wade. That was the time that you said you stayed in Miami at the hotel the first night?
That's the time I told you I am not sure. So I'm not sure of two things. So I want to make sure that my testimony is clear. I'm not sure if we stayed in Miami on the October trip. I'm not sure if we stayed in Miami on the December trip. I just can't remember that. And I also don't remember, so that the record is clear, I don't remember if the necessity was as we got on the ship or we got off the ship. But I do remember there was a night spent in Miami because either whatever, I don't remember. But I think that there was a night spent in Miami.
That cruise is the one that you took in October, right?
Ma'am, if you have something to refresh my recollection, I'm intentionally trying to not be difficult with you, but I don't want to make up something.
Right.
I know that on one of those two trips, we stayed in Miami. I am not sure right now. You're asking me about.
Oh, I'm sorry, you misunderstood. I was not asking you which night you stayed in Miami. I'm asking if you took a cruise in October 2022 with Mr. Wade.
Yes, and his mom.
And his mother. That's what I was asking.
Yes.
Is that the first time you met his mother?
Yes.
It was on that cruise, and that was Royal Caribbean, I believe?
I honestly don't remember what ship. I know we've taken two cruises. I don't know what the ships were.
But he paid for the flight and the cruise on Royal Caribbean that time.
So yes, he paid. He is the original one that does it. He has something called, Mr. Wade is a world traveler. I'm not as versed as him. He's been to 6 of the 7 continents. And so he has both a personal travel agent and he also has a cruise travel agent. I don't know anything about either of those kind of travel agents. So he is the one that would book the travel, but we need to be clear when we're talking about just because he booked it doesn't mean, like, I don't consider him having taken me any place. Let me just be honest. The only one that's ever taken somebody someplace is for his 50th birthday. I consider that I took him to Belize. And I took him to Belize because, I don't want to discuss his personal business, but I'm happy Mr. Wade is still here with us. And I did 50 big, very big.
We don't give a fuck! Jesus! We don't give a fuck!
The most I ever gave him, I know I gave him $2,500 when we went to Belize because we went to one hotel and then we went to a second hotel. That $2,500 I actually gave him while we were still in Belize. I know that the Aruba trip, the one that you described with his mom, I think I gave him about $2,000 for that trip for like total.
His mom went to Aruba with you?
The Aruba trip. So I consider that to be one trip. So we got off of a cruise ship and then we went to Aruba, which is why I cannot remember is that the time that we had to stay in Miami to wait for the flight for Aruba.
What the hell did you just say?
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Miss Yurdi?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did?
Yes.
Did he ever spend the night at that condo?
No.
Just visited?
Yeah, but he did visit for sure.
Did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about, during 2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been, let me think, 2019. I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone. So I'm going to say yes.
So outside of the vacations that we've already talked about, did you ever go out to dinner with Mr. Wade?
I mentioned to you that
I'm going to object as to what time period. We're asking very vague questions. I thought we were treating the witness as hostile under 611. We're no longer doing that. So we're going to go back and forth. We need to be more specific with our questions if we're going to treat her as hostile.
All right, Ms. Merchant, it's not so much. I think you can elect between leading and open-ended questions, but I think we are still wondering about, and I think we need to get back on track of focusing on the financial benefit or the relationship.
And my next question about if you did, who paid when you went out to dinner?
He paid. I paid.
You both paid.
Okay, so let me be real clear. We didn't say, oh, the bill is $102. You give $51, I'll give $51. I don't operate like that with my girlfriends. I don't operate like that with anyone. He caught the bill, I caught the bill, whomever.
Did you ever pay him through Cash App?
No.
You only ever paid him through cash?
Well, yes. We're talking about, I'm very confused
You've
now.
never
Like,
given Mr. Wade money through Cash App?
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened, no, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash. Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given him cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've
if
never
we
used
would
your
go to
credit card?
dinner,
Let her finish her answer.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are you
question was,
telling
do
me
you
that
have
I'm
any
lying to you?
proof?
Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
You have no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
I've answered you that I've had written proof.
we can move to the next question if you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises,
Judge,
and that's
I
the
asked if
cruise
she gave
plus
him written
Aruba.
proof.
We're not going to talk over each other. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, so we can ask the next question. Ms. Willis and Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities to let you clarify your answers when it's her turn.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I need money.
If you want to quote me accurately.
So it's your position because Mr. Wade was not an employee, or it's your position he wasn't an employee, correct?
Mr. Wade is not an employee, and he will tell you that over and over again.
Just one moment, Judge. I'm sorry, the statement, just so I make sure I accurately quote you. What you said was you won't sleep with people who work under you. Do you not consider Mr. Wade working under you?
I consider Mr. Wade to be an agent.
An agent?
Yeah,
All right.
an appointee is what I really think of him as.
Your point, whatever merit it has, Ms. Merchant, is on the record.
Thank you, Judge.
Next question.
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees.
Did you or did you not, by May the 30th, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no?
Yes. I'm going to try to ask you questions that you can actually answer without having to explain, okay?
Yes, sir. My comprehension skills are pretty good, so we should do all right.
We shall soon see.
I had some contact with Mr. Wade.
Would you explain when you say some contact? Please tell us, talking about 2020.
I had some contact with Mr. Wade in 2020. One of the reasons your allegations are so preposterous, or Ms. Merchant's that you have joined, is...
Ma'am, I didn't ask you about the allegations. I asked you about your contact. That's all I ask you, okay? I appreciate that you want to say something, but I'm interested in, did you have contacts with Mr. Wade in 2020? And your answer so far has been yes, correct?
Very limited contact because Mr. Wade had a form of cancer that makes your allegations somewhat ridiculous.
I do appreciate the characterization.
I'm not going to emasculate a black man, but I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Did you understand that? Office once or twice, but maybe once.
And the purpose for going to his office would have been what?
Maybe we would have went to Mellow Mushrooms for pizza, or maybe he would have come for lunch. I'm sure we went by each other's office, though, but not often, not a lot. We both grinding, trying to make a living.
I understand what you've said about the cancer, and I'm not going into that. But when you were going out with him to restaurants, or when he would come to your office, right? Those were not sterile environments, were they?
Oh, very sterile, because it was...
The restaurants were sterile environments?
A lot of times we wouldn't eat there. We would pick up something and go in, but they were...
I'm listening to you. You pick up and take it to where?
Maybe eat at our office, but it did not happen much. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And my office in 2020, nobody was coming in. I was stir crazy, so I would still go into my office. If you remember, when I started this, I said, I am not even sure if we came to each other's offices, but I am trying to be over cautious. So I think I can recall him at 750 a couple of times. I just think I can recall him at 750 once, but let's say twice. I have seen his office. I remember all the awards in the lobby, but I'm not sure in 2020 I went. I'm not even sure I went in 2020 at all. I just want to tell you yes, because I'm not sure. But I have a distinct recollection of him at 750. I actually don't have a distinct recollection of me at his office in 2020, but maybe I went to his office in 2020, maybe.
Did you have ongoing phone conversations during 2020 with Mr. Wade?
Oh, yeah, I talked to, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, no question about that.
No question, I talked to him on the phone in 2020.
I understood, and this is, maybe I was confused. The Belize trip was for
his 50th birthday.
His 50th birthday, and that was in
March. He turned 50 March 18th of 2023. If you look at the dates of the trip, I think we were there about 6 days. We stayed at 2 different locations.
And you paid for it?
100%. He said, not only, I paid for the hotel, I paid for the flights, I had a birthday luncheon for him, I paid for massages, I paid for everything.
And would those payments be reflected on your credit card?
The cash.
You paid them in cash?
Cabs. I was telling you all the different things.
And I'm asking you whether or not those payments would be reflected on credit card bills of yours.
So there was about $500 that I think is reflected on a debit card. What my recollection is, I took about 4 in cash with me to that.
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him 2,500, and then the rest was just the money we spent.
In Exhibit 21, where we agree that Mr. Wade is a prohibited source, correct?
What I agree to is I don't believe he's giving me gifts. You would like to classify these trips as gifts, but I've always paid my fair share on these trips, so I did not look at them as gifts. I don't think that what this is disclosing, and they can tell me if they mean something different, I don't think it means that if you go to dinner with somebody over the course of a year and it gets to 100, you're supposed to report it. If my understanding of that is wrong, I've probably been to lunches with a couple of people that over the course of a year, they paid, I paid.
Let me, prohibited source means.
We already went over this, Mr. Gillen. Mr. McDougal.
Well, Your Honor, I have to lay the foundation here before I can follow up with my next question.
But you bought the bottle of beer definitely at 12:15.
Yeah, it was 12:15. Exactly. If I'm not mistaken, it was
Now you see something? Now you see now. You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
I
See what I'm saying?
I thought.
No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you?
The more questions that cop asks, the more I thought I wasn't gonna never see daylight again.
A lot of shit pissed me off. Like, we got Fanni Willis over there admitting that she had a quote unquote relationship with one of her co-workers. You know, that's how it is with the work husband. You know, he gets all the perks and stuff, while her real husband getting divorced and trampled over and took for all his money. You know, it is what it is. You know, this is the American way these days, you know. So Fanni Willis finally admits that they were in a relationship. They didn't went to Belize and different uh, places in the world with her mother. I mean, with his mother and everything else. You know, they probably never even went on a trip. She probably never went on a trip with her husband and his mother. You know, but she want to get the side nigga and let him get all the benefits. And, you know, do the same thing the rest of these females do these days. They get into these relationships, you know, get into long lasting marriages, and they end up taking the dude for all the money. And next thing you know, they got a side dude they taking care of, you know, taking them to Belize, taking them on trips, going to, what's that, cruises and shit. So she's just, you know, living her best life, you know, right after the divorce. Good job, Fanni. That's what I'm talking about. Now you got a nice little side piece, you know what I'm saying? You taking care of, putting them in position to win out here, you know? And that's this is another Remy Ma type situation. This is just women getting into these boss positions and then dumping a dude they were with and built with, and then getting a side dude that they rather be with, you know? Just like I said, Remy Ma did to her dude Papoose, you know? And then she built up Easy the Block Captain. Now he's ramrodding her all night. It's fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Fanni Willis' husband probably asking her to reconcile and stuff, and she going through all this court case shit. He over there, he taking me for 1,800 and what's that, alimony and shit. She probably getting 1,800 a month in alimony and all kind of weird ass shit from her husband. And now she over here spending it on the side nigga. You seen she spent 2,500 on one trip, talking about his 50th birthday was immaculate, and he didn't do shit for my 50th birthday. Surprise, surprise, you the side bitch. He was married, Fanni. You can't expect him to treat you like wifey. You gotta understand, you the side piece. You get all the side bitch perks. You know what I'm saying? Like getting fucked on the beach and shit. You know, and took in here and took in there, not taking pictures though. You know what I'm saying? You know, the side bitch perks. You know, you gotta enjoy the side bitch perks. He's gonna let you meet moms here and there, and don't make too much noise. Mom's in the other room while you getting banged out. Side bitch perks. You know what I'm saying? So y'all enjoyed so many cruises. Y'all that went to Florida and the Bahamas and everywhere else. Did you do that with your husband, Fanni? Nah, I didn't think so. Husband got ramrodded and threw in the dirt, fucked over all through the judicial system. I already know. I know how you did them. I can understand, Fanni. You know, side nigga perks is always a little bit better, you know. But she didn't know that it was gonna fall back on her, and she didn't realize she was the side bitch. It's fucked up, you know. That's why, you know, she had to back up from the relationship. She still don't know when they ended. Because he was married. That's why you don't know when they ended. Shit. She's still confused on what was the relationship. It is what it is, though, you know. Fanny, good luck to you, you know. Hopefully they don't find no evidence that you were doing anything corrupt, because they are on your ass. It is what it is. Signs of acceptance, and we ain't having it. Like, comment, subscribe.